What's good, fellow CEOs? Welcome to the Irony of Gaming. And today we're going to be starting up again, episode 1, Act 2. Let's see, we're going to go to mainstream. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, the first one for the first act, it pretty much was like cutscenes and whatnot. But in Act 2, this is going to be a little bit different because now we are actually able to go through like missions this time. We can actually start these and, you know, from so forth on. But it was still interesting like how they added the tutorial stuff in there. I wasn't expecting them to do that. I thought it was something like, I thought it was like a feature that only happens once, you know, when you first start the game. But they actually integrated the tutorial within this. But I think it's, you know, it's overall when when you think about it, it's probably a good idea for that to happen. Just so if you wanted to like touch base on the basics and whatnot. But still, it was interesting having to go back and, you know, reliving the experience of what it was like to, you know, first seeing and reading everything as it unfolds. And I gotta say, like, it's almost as if I never had read the story. It's like I get that nostalgic feeling all over again, especially with this theme song on here. It's just too good. It's awesome. But for Act 2, we're gonna be starting this up, so you guys already know the drill already. You know, if I'm gonna talk about anything spoiler related, talk about anything that's like having to do with the substreams, I'm gonna count down to 5 seconds. And from there, that's going to give you guys enough time to mute the video. And once I'm done talking about what I'm talking about, I'm going to rotate my mouse just like this. This is going to give you guys the signal to unmute the video, and then we can just continue on. And of course, you guys are going to get to see what this new rule that I've set up for myself when going through these main stories. So when I come across missions like these, the rule for me is that I'm only obligated to use units that's a part of the same squad. Now, there may come a time where, you know, some few rare occasions where I may need to use a second squad, which is a collaborative effort method, where I can use a second squad to help out the other squad that I'm using. But they have to be a part of that same squad. So if I have some Fenrir units on there, but a specific situation calls for me to use another unit, but that's from a different squad, I can do that. But I gotta fill out the slots from there because this is what ends up happening, right? Will they let me choose? Okay. So sometimes like the game will try to force you to use units that's part of the same they're like you have to fill up the slots sometimes. In this case though, I'm not sure if they will let that happen. Hold on, let me see something. Let me test it out. Will they let me use a unit like this? So I think they're like in the earlier game, maybe they won't let me, because normally we don't see all of this happening here unless, we're gonna try it out just to see what happens. Okay, so it does work on there. Okay, so hold on. That is interesting. So in the earlier game, they used to do that. All right, so yeah, because normally what'll happen, right? Let me show you an example. All right, so we can use something like this, right? Normally, if you can see like the yellow like this, the game's not gonna let you do anything. So it's gonna force you to use units. So I think like once we get to a certain point within the story, there's gonna come a time where they're going to force us to fill out the slots of everything here. So this is what I mean by having like a collaborative effort or anything like that. So you could have, let's say, all the units here were like Fenrir Squad or something like that, or or like, you know, alt squad or delta squad, right? Then I can, like I say, if I wanted to add like another specific unit just to fit a specific situation, then I can add another unit that's part of another squad. However, I would have to, you know, fill the slot in and all that stuff. So it'll be like a collaborative effort type thing. It's very rare that I would need to do that though. But yeah, you'll definitely see it. Maybe like once or twice or something like that. So, but yeah, so let's continue on with Act 2. Starting with 2-1. Administration authorization. Huh, okay. So this one is Alt Squad. I think that's what they said, right? Oh yeah, right here, Alt Team. Okay, wonder what that's all about. So, yeah, but this is interesting because I guess like in the early game, they actually allow you to have as many as you want. That's interesting. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open this up. And we're just gonna say, I don't know, story. Alright, let's see. What do I want to choose? What do I do?
이런 건 처음 타봐요. 맨날 뛰어다니기만 했는데.
You know what? Let's use Alt Squad. That makes the most sense, right?
꼭 편제대로 움직이란 법은 없잖아요. 그렇죠? 샤오린, 배치 완료. 좋았어. 잘 부탁드려요.
I wonder about something though. Hold on. Is her other form a part of that squad as well? Surely that has to be the case, right? Really? Wait a minute. What squad is she from? Wow, that's really weird. She's actually not a part of. Wait a minute. Did they forget to put her in there? Or am I just missing something? Yeah, they actually forgot. They forgot to add her in the. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess it makes sense. Like, let's say if you had like a rearm version, the rearm version is not gonna show up here. Like rearm Casey Benz, Rearm Casey Benz is not gonna show up on here because it's practically the same character. But this one is like, she's a specific unit. If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about here, I'm gonna show you guys in a minute. That's very interesting that they didn't add the unit in here in the collections sections of the team ups. She should be here, but she's not. Interesting. Okay, so basically this is what here's what's happening, right? So we're gonna go to Act 2. So the unit that they didn't add was her.
첫째도 팀워크, 둘째도 팀워크.
Like it's Seo Yoon, but I guess they just didn't decide to add this version of her in there. I wonder why. Here, we gotta add the other one too. Wait, will they let me do that? Yeah, they will let me do it.
가끔은 이런 역할도 해야 배우는 게 많겠죠.
Huh. That's interesting. I definitely would have thought that they would have definitely put her in the team up lineup as well. Maybe they just forgot? Huh. Okay. But anyways, this is a perfect example before I can show you guys. So, you know, I pretty much had everybody from All Squad, right? So now, let's say like eventually the game is gonna force you to fill out the slots and stuff like that. Right now, I don't have to do that. I could just, you know, I can play with like half a deck. But normally they will have you do that. So what I could do is just like I could use this, and you know these units are a part of Fenrir Squad, and you know this will be like a collaborative effort type thing. But yeah, that's pretty much what I mean on that. But in this case, since the game is doing that, actually, you know what? No, we're not gonna put her in there. Actually, you know what? No, we are. We're gonna keep her in there. Just in case if you guys are, you know, new to gaming, you just wondering what she does. I can show you guys. I'm not worried about the gear though. Yeah, that should be fine. Yumina on standby. Okay. Oh, I forgot about this. The iconic scene. Right, she was struggling to knowing like the basic lingo of how to check someone's CRF. Or what is it? CSE? Oh. Okay, so when I remember this when I first got to this part, I was like, yo, this character has a pretty cool design right here, especially with that whole assault rifle thing. And I was like, man. And it's kind of crazy because I never got that unit before until maybe, if I remember correctly, I think I got her either from a ticket or I got her from a spook when I was trying to go for an awaken. I think when I was trying to go for awaken Yumina, she ended up showing up. It's either that or it was during another awaken banner that I was trying to go for. But I was trying so hard to try and get this unit, and at that time I didn't even know what she does. I didn't care about the abilities or anything like that. I just wanted to get this unit because she had the badass assault rifle, and I was like, yo, is there some way I can try and get this unit? But then later on, once I finally got the unit and I started reading her skills, and I was like, holy shit, she's actually good. She's actually really good being the support and all that stuff. But yeah. Man, the music here back then, oh man, it's just chill. Shield. The Fenrir squad? Sounds like somebody is jealous. A corruption core that's causing this corruption, and the counterside that's connected to the coordinates. I remember reading that part, and I ended up getting surprised a bit because I was like, oh wow, she's the one leading the squad, leading the second squad. I was like, oh wow, okay. That just made me want the unit even more at that point. I bet it's nothing good anyway. Probably not. You know, they need to add more of the, I think they need to add more of the alt squad in the story. More. They need to start adding them more into there. But I'm thinking that sooner or later they will, like, the entire alt squad will get their moment as well later on. I'm pretty sure that they will. Like maybe like in the near future. Because the bantering with this squad is just hilarious. Okay, so I remember seeing this unit here too at one point, and I was like, yo, this is badass. And it's pretty cool too because she was actually one of my first SSR units that I got. So I was pretty happy when I first started the game, and I was like, yo, I actually got this unit because she was another unit I was gunning for. I was like, yo, the chick's got a 50 caliber sniper rifle. I was like, yo, that's just badass. Stupid mumbling. You know, she needs to get more screen time too. And I personally think that she may someday either get a rearm or an awaken version. Just now, the reason why I think that is because, like, based on a specific scene of her personality, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. Of course, I could be wrong too, you know. But yeah, they like the alt squad definitely needs to have more screen time, like how they used to in the past. But the bantering here was just peak. Wait a minute. They don't have an official license yet. Did she ever mention their... They don't have an official pro license yet, but the team is... Oh, okay. But their team is full of grade B counters or better. Wow. Okay, so... Okay, so I never really paid attention to that. So Ult Squad, the lowest that their rank is a B. And everything else is higher. If I remember correctly, I would assume that Zhao Lin and Seo Yoon are grade A. And then everybody else is grade B. We could also check it out later on in the collection section. I see, a guidance squad. Supervision by a guidance squad is required for non-licensed counters. Okay. And then you're registered as a probationary operative of the Fenrir squad. So technically, it wouldn't even matter. Like, you could be a grade D, but overall, your grade would be determined by the squad itself. So I'm guessing, like, if the squad was like a grade S, even if you're a grade D, you're allowed authorization to go and do the the higher tier missions, just because you're in a squad like Fenrir. Now I'm starting to understand exactly what the rules usually are when it comes down to like licensed counters and non-licensed counters, especially if they're in a non-licensed squad. Oh man, these two are hilarious. Wait, what? I followed Destiny's beckoning and ended up here. Yeah, I remember her. Chloe the scammer. Chloe the scam artist. No soliciting during work hours. So you're saying that after work hours, she's allowed to solicit other things? She's like, oh, okay, yeah, no scamming people until after you're done with working. Oh man, that's funny. You know, that's a really good question, Mina. I don't even think they do. You know, I wonder when they're going to talk about her story, her backstory, and how she ended up in this condition. That's a long time. Oh yeah, I remember the animation, how they showed this. Yeah, I remember first seeing this. I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. Huh. Feels weird and a little uncomfortable, like I've been here before. Hmm. Oh, you know what? That kind of does make sense.
감당할 수 있나 불법?
Okay, that's a little too strong. I might have to do some adjustments. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, they've always mentioned this from the start. The unique gear, and then we have a unique gear system. One for, I think for almost all of the units. Well, a good portion of them has their own unique gear, and then the Awakens have their own unique gear. Yeah, you don't say. You know, I would really like to know that weapon's origins. Like, we know, you know, for those who've read this before, we know where the weapon came from originally, but we don't know, like, you know, the full story of, I don't think they ever told us, you know, how that weapon was forged. Although there are some possible theories on who might have forged it, though. A weapon that was used by the old administration. So you're saying that this weapon could possibly be a remnant of the old of the old administration? current administration is just an administrative group with the same name. The real administration was a secret organization that existed before the day of the failure. Right. The administration failure. But secret organization? Right, right. These items are incredible weapons that you can't replicate with modern technology. I'm trying to see if I remember something about this. You can't replicate it with modern technology. You know, now that I think about it, they seem to be very consistent with this. Now that I'm rereading this again. Maybe. Ooh, hold on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so for those of you who didn't mute the video, something to do with the old administration. I was thinking that maybe, like, you know how they mentioned before on episode 14, I think. Yeah, episode 14, the recent one. Well, no, the Gold Veil, where they mentioned to Mina, where she was like, you know, what is the relationship between the admin and Tamil? I'm wondering, like, what if there was like a possibility, right? Like, of course, they haven't really said anything about it yet because it's still vague. But maybe the, like, I guess the remnants of like the old administration, like the very, very original team of it. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Tamil was the one that used to be a part of it. Because, like, when you think about it, right? At least when I saw this, I think there was I think it was in the counter case. It was either, yeah, it might have been that one, the counter case where Hilde was like, you know, she was stuck typing up something on the computer, a report and whatnot, and then Mina was like, you know, trying to help her type it up. Now, and she started remembering like the old times. I'm guessing that maybe, you know, possibly that has something to do with that. Like maybe there was like a past Mina at the time that she remembers. But I remember when I started reading this, right, before all the other episodes came in after, I was assuming that maybe this has something to do with Tamel, where that Tamel somehow, like, I guess, knew who Hilde was and whatnot. Well, no, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so I was assuming, and you know what? I might actually still think about this theory still, that Tamel could be the original wolf in a way. Because when you think about it, right, when you start moving fast, when you start fast forwarding to a specific section of, I think, like, maybe, like episode, was it episode 13? It was either episode 13 or episode 12 when we found out exactly why the majority of the failures kept happening was because Hilde continuously kept trying to use the power of the gods, which during the rules she wasn't allowed to do that. And every time she does that, Tamel would show up and she would punish Hilde by killing the wolf every single time, because Hilde kept breaking the rules. So now this is starting to make more sense now, that maybe the original wolf was Tamel, because Tamel, like, even when you go throughout the first game, Tamel is the one who has the wolf's bane. But I always used to see it as that the wolf's bane was capable of corrupting and destroying a person. That was just the thought that that was the conclusion that I came up with when I first saw that. When she was saying, she was mentioning other things, and I was like, oh, maybe the sword is corrupted, maybe it's capable of destroying people like her. But I really do think that maybe the original wolf was Tamel. That within Hilde's memories, it was Tamel. Could be a possibility with that. But maybe there was a time too where, because here's what I think, right? I think Tamel is a Valkyrie. She might technically be one, and they just don't want to mention it. And that's probably why they're saying, like, oh, Hilde is the only Valkyrie left, because maybe whatever Tamel did when she renounced her, she probably renounced what she was to become back the new god or whatnot, or the being that took control of the Tree of Sephiroth. So when you think about it that way, it starts to make more sense that way. So, and remember when Hilde broke the rules, Tamel mentioned something that, oh, you used our power of something. So maybe Tamel was a Valkyrie, and we still don't really know exactly what a Valkyrie is within the CounterSide universe. So yeah, man, that really makes a lot more sense. Because even when you first start the game, right, you would just see Mina as just one of those people, like, just, okay, she's either a semi-protagonist or like a main protagonist, but you didn't really know much about her past until later on, and then you're just like, oh, okay, she seems like a regular person like anybody else. But and when you're seeing it that way, at least for me, I was naturally assuming that the woman in the first start of the game, which was Tamel, that she had a part within the past of everybody else. So maybe the actual, like, old administration before all the chaos and all that stuff, maybe the original team was, you know, the admin, the friend that he had who sacrificed himself for the Kaleshas, Mel, and Hilde. And maybe that four-man squad was what made up, you know, the administration, the progenitors of the administrations. And as things progressed, and I guess, like, you know, when things got out of control, that's when, you know, we start to know the old administration as it is, through, you know, the constant resets, constant going into other worlds, the constant trials and errors that helped make that organization what it is today. It's a pretty insane theory. It's a pretty crazy theory, but I really do think that that's, you know, that's probably what it's all about. Yeah, that's really interesting.
기다리느라 애태우신 건 아니죠?
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot how weak these enemies were. Okay. Alright, so let's start it up. Okay, so let's see. Who are we gonna choose this time? I could use... Yeah, you know what? We're gonna use Gambler.
기물 취급은 사양인데 말이지.
Because there's only 2 people within that squad, but I think that'll be more than enough.
언제든 봉사할 준비가 되어
Because
있습니다.
they both can do all around attack.
어째서 내게 이런 걸?
I do not think I have the appropriate gear for this unit. Oh, actually I do, but it's not the method that I'm looking for.
정중하게 모시겠습니다.
All right, let's do it. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, no way, there's no way she's using turret cards to try to try and pinpoint locations. Now, it's kind of funny too, because her beliefs are so ironic. It's so ironic because sometimes it does come in handy. It's very weird. Wait a minute. Okay, so she's asking about category 2. But that's, even she's starting to get into this.
조무래기들에게 겁먹을 쏘냐?
오마닝은 킹스겐 비서.
Oh, they still do some tutorials here too.
맡겨도 사장님.
당신 차례야.
총알이 없잖아.
브랜드 프로모션. 감히 우리 앞에 제품을 돌렸겠다. 영웅은 무조건 이긴다니깐요.
That was fast. One that fights with desperation. You know, now that I think about it, I wonder if she's still, I wonder if still to this day, she still fights like that. More reckless, maybe less. What do you guys think? Man, you know, they need to do more of animations like that. I forget how purple her eyes are. Yeah, they definitely should do more animations like these. And you know, looking back at it from like before and all that, they really improved a lot over the years. Like I rarely see, you know, gacha games that well, at least the ones that I've seen, but you know, you rarely see such engagement of animations that way from a visual novel. You know what I find interesting about this? Hold on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, for those of you who didn't mute the video, um, so for those of you who read everything into on this, we know that her supposed big sister is Queen, and if I remember correctly on this part, when she says that part and she inevitably starts to betray Mina, like scamming her or whatnot. And I think like she made up the whole story. Like, I think like she claims that she made up that whole entire story. But then later on, we come to realize that in the later chapters, she really wasn't making up the story at all. Like, she really was telling the truth. Seo Yu. She really was telling the truth to Mina about that story, which is really interesting. That, knowing how Seo Yu's personality is, and how she likes to do a lot of deception. So it's really interesting to where she's mixing in the truth, but somehow warps it in a way where people think that she's lying. I mean, she has a talent for it. She has a really good talent. It's like she could tell you the truth, but you wouldn't really know if she's telling the truth or not, even though she is telling you the truth. It's interesting. It's an interesting technique form of words that she moves around in. You think so, huh, Seo Yeah, this is one of those like, oh shit moments. Like, holy crap, this got real dark. Caught in a corruption disaster. I think they need to explain that. They definitely need to explain that more on what this particular corruption disaster was. Hmm. Hold on 1 second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so for those of you who didn't mute the video, right? So when reading this again, I kind of have like this theory thing too, right? Because we know what Tamil did, right? But I can't help to have this feeling like when reading like this part, it almost seems like possibly Tamil is probably not the main villain of this universe. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another tier of villain that's probably even stronger than Tamil. As crazy as that sounds. And, you know, of course, like, all the information that they've given us so far, what Tamil did, how she corrupted everything on there. But the main thing about it, the main takeoff with it, is what led her to do that in the first place. Why did she want to do that? They gave us, like, vague things, like, you know, maybe she wanted to see destruction and all that stuff, but what led her to even do that in the first place? Who knows? Maybe it was the wolf's bane. Maybe there was something that she saw, that maybe this was the only variable in order to do that. Maybe that even explains why the admin can't speak of this thing either. And the fact that in the first world he made a vow that he would kill her. But what if that vow is based off of a request rather than, you know, seeking revenge or something? What if it was a request? Because back into the very first part, she says, "Until for now we have to part ways." It didn't seem like, I don't know. Maybe she was talking. Maybe she was talking to the wolf. Maybe during that first scene, or maybe she was talking to the admin before everything starts unfolding. It just doesn't seem to me like it's a revenge type thing. It seems to me like there's, I don't know. It seems to me like there's it's more of a request rather than, you know, something having the admin do a revenge on. I just think that something is missing. There's like a few pieces missing to this whole thing, especially with the relationship between the two. There was something else too that was lingering in my mind. I'm trying to remember it. Because we think of the where he says that it's a vow, right? I don't know. Something that it just seems off. There's something odd about it. But I'm thinking that maybe I'm having a harder time remembering it or trying to form connections to specific things. But I think I'm unable to, because there are a few pieces of information that I'm missing that the writer hasn't explained yet, or the game eventually did not talk about yet. I don't know. Something seems off about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if there is a greater enemy than Tamil. See, this is what's interesting here. I'd pay attention to these two things here. GL. Wait, what does that mean? GL. I'm at a blank. Yo, if you guys know what this means, I think that still to this day, I probably don't know what this means. GL. It seems like I should know this. But even back then, I don't think I... Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I think I know what it is. But if you guys do think... If you guys know what it is, or you think you know what it is, feel free to put it into the comment section. Feel free to write it there, or what you think it means. But judging by her reaction, I think I know what it means.
시시한 승리로구나. 뭐 됐다.
Dun, 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 dun. Alright, so we're on level 3. Wow, I forgot how short these were. Okay, let's see, who else are we gonna choose? Oh man, I can still remember the days when I would read through like so many of these chapters. I would just like binge read them, and then it would come to the point where I would finish it all, and then I would have to wait for them to come out with the next story again. And I was just like, oh my god, this is gonna take forever. You know what? We're gonna use Alex.
우리 오래오래 보자 얘들아.
전원 침식 파일 노출되지 않게 주의하도록.
And now Guardian Spirits. secret to the pyramids? She said the price. That she's trying to form hexes. Instead of infamous.
이몸 등장!
여기가 너희들 공제 증말점
꼭 숨어라 머리카락 엄살 부리지 감히 우리 앞에서 등을 돌렸겠다 도망가려고? 영웅은
어?
무조건 이긴다니깐요
The waifu Alex took care of it. Uh-oh. You know, that's fascinating that they know this already. They must have seen this happen so many times. Yep, he was watching the whole time. He immediately knew. Very, very perceptive. Hold on, I have to check something real quick. All right. Oh man, you see how they just do things like this? Oh, you know, I would love for them to bring this back, like this type of like scenery when they do things like this. Or if they do, we need to see a lot more of it, because it's usually things like this that usually captivates me within the game. Back then, I've never really like seen like, you know, a game that puts so much effort like this into like the animations and the way that the scenery is, and it just makes you want to read more and more within the story. Yeah, that's fair. Man, I always found Hilde to be like so cool. She's like calm and collected. I don't think she really has changed much though. You know, throughout the story. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit, but I don't know, but like in this type of scene, she just seems so badass. Just explaining things in a, I guess, I don't want to say formal way, but like, I guess you could say in a cold business way. Like, hey, it's just business. She's like, well, at least they'll just lower it down for us. Who cares? She's so indifferent about things. You know, it's kind of funny too because like the way that Seo Yoon was like this, like, you know, acting all friendly and whatnot. I would get cautious about it. I remember that because I was just like, something's not right. I don't trust her. Oh man. School's in session, Mina. And that was your first lesson. The core breaker. Let's see what this is all. Oh, right. They do give you a free unit when you do that. I mean, that's a category 3 though. See, from here, you could kind of see her personality changes. Like, you can see a slight personality change to her. Right then and there, just by saying a few words, you just know it's like, huh. There's more to this girl. See that her mask starts to unfold. Running, huh? I mean, category 3 is no joke. Oh, right. This is where the speed up actually starts. Okay, so you see how they used to do things like this? You like how it pauses? They need to do that more in the, you know, in the later installments of the updates, because like there are times where like this dialogue will come up when, you know, during the fights, and it automatically clicks off by itself. They should make it to where it's like this, where you have to click off in order for them to, you know, in order for things to keep progressing. Oh, you forcing me to?
훌륭한
Okay.
판단이세요. 좀 떨어져주면 좋겠네.
I guess the game is forcing me to play manually. Also, hold on. I've also noticed what I have this here, right? Oh, that's why. Okay. I never used to pay attention to notice that this was always there. Because on my mobile phone, it's not there, and I keep forgetting to turn this off. Yikes.
장전 완료다. 날 목표 포착.
That's pretty impressive. To take down a category 3, normally you would need level 5 type gear set just to take down a category 3. But in this case, Alt Squad managed to do it. Seven out of 10 at best. Uh-oh. Ooh.
사장님, 이 정도 공적치라면 금방 승급하겠죠?
I remember that one. Let's see, what is Act 3? Okay, so Act 3, Act 4. Man, back then, these were like short burst episodes. These were like short-term episodes. Kind of like back then. It seems like that's the way they used to do it back then, where it's kind of like watching a TV show. I forgot how fast you could really go through these. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna have Act 3 and Act 4. So they ended up betraying everybody on this. Oh man. Yeah, definitely. There's some definitely interesting things over there. Like knowing what we know now from later episodes and whatnot, and then just rereading it. There's definitely some new, interesting information. I ended up finding through reading this one. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, they definitely need to add more animations into that, because that was like a really, like for me, that was like a really big impression that they did that. The way that they animated specific scenes and whatnot. It's definitely captivating. But yeah, that will be it for the Act 2, and then we're gonna start Act 3. And you know what? Before we even do that, I mean, we could try out. Yeah, let's do like 2 PvP matches before we go. Which one? What team did I use? I think I used this one right here. Oh.
가격보단 마음이 중요한 거죠.
Yeah, we can use that. So let's see. Maybe I'll win 2 matches, or maybe I'll lose 2 matches. Let's see.
조무래기들에게 겁먹을 쏘냐?
What are we doing here?
꼭 펌프질 좀 하고. 안 보일라. 엄살 부리지 마.
Ooh, Jushiun. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one right here. Oh, Jushiun's down. Okay, doesn't look like Alex can stop. Okay, we're gonna bring them over here. Nice. GG's. So they ended up doing the reset again, so. Ugh. Man, they knocked me down all the way back down to Master Rank 4. That is brutal. Ooh, another Jushiun. Oh, let's see if I can get a good lineup.
일단 펌프질 좀 하고.
어떻게든 해보죠.
모든 우리가 잡았다고요. 이거 이렇게 부리면 되는 거 맞지?
진정하세요.
Let's see if I can gut them down before it's too late.
와라, 조용히 계시. 도움이 필요한가?
Hey, Linzette is surviving.
널 위한 것
That's nice. Ooh. Well, we got Alex out just in time, so. Ooh, alright, he got his move out. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. But I'm gonna summon Yenua and see if we can fix that. I want to try to summon Seo Yoon so we can gun him down.
감당할 수 있나 볼까?
Yeah, this is getting intense.
같은 숲 연산 완료.
정수가 흩어져.
진정하세요.
기가 출격합니다.
널 위한 거다.
Dang, he already got his full buzz again. Yeah, we might lose. You know what I probably should have done? I probably should have summoned Seo Yoon first. But I don't think I could have because she was already in.
널 위한 거다.
She was already like all the way at the last part. Like what I wish they would allow us to do is to cycle through the employees, you know? Because I think that would be a lot easier because there is an issue with the whole lineup thing where let's say you got all the units out that you needed, and then if the unit dies, they end up all the way at the back of the line, and the issue with it is that you can't resummon the unit at all. You would have to constantly resummon the units that's already on the field, which weakens your positioning, and just to be able to get to the available unit that ended up getting sent to the back of the line. And there's no other way for you to recycle it, which I think that's, you know, that kind of defeats the purpose of, you know, the summoning method, and it's kind of redundant because it just doesn't make any sense on why something like that would happen. So there needs to be like something that allows you to automatically summon the unit again, unless maybe in theory if I were to activate the auto, maybe the game would then summon them there, but I don't think that method works either, because there might have been a case too where like in PvE a unit would die and then another unit would take its place, but because everybody else is out and that unit is all the way at the back of the line, you would have to re-summon the unit manually again just to get that other unit out, which I think that they need to rework that. I get that they want to do, you know, switchings, like, you know, do the randomizer and all that stuff for PvP and all that, but there comes a time where you're gonna run, like, people are gonna run into that issue, and, you know, you can't do anything about it until you redeploy your units just to get back to just to resummon the other unit. It's a mess. Hopefully they you know, they rework that, but in that case, yeah, we ended up losing that one. But in that particular case, that was just only one thing. There was a whole different other thing why we lost. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, we won one and we lost one. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the little PvP match that we had. And we're going to be continuing on next time with the Act 3. I wonder if the next update is going to come out with the second part to this one right here for the Omens. That would be pretty awesome if they do that. But anyways, I'm out of here, guys. Catch you later.